and this is Rob's Ramblings and Reactions. My name is William Robert Webb III, aka Tetsuo Great, aka Tetsuo Man, blah 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 blah, and cue that musicless intro. And we're back. I went through that really fast because I have only about like 5 minutes to speak. That's what's left on my SD card, and I really want to get this out there. What this is my reaction to a review by a really cool YouTuber channel called Midnight's Edge, which is a lot of comic book stuff. And they did a review of the recent Fantastic Four reboot that Josh Trank heralded. I am going to be trying to hit with a lot of different stuff as fast as I can in, I guess, 4 minutes. First off, I agree. Let's bring up it's clobbering time. The fact that it was put as a insane origin of being involved with child. You might stretch it by saying child abuse if it is an older brother to a younger sibling kind of bit, but it's Ben Grimm's older brother beats the crap out of him and says, it's clobbering time, and it's got no weight at all when it is finally used by Ben later in the film. Additionally, we have Homer Simpson as, well, Dan Castellaneta, as Reed and Ben's teacher, and there's a lot of stuff that I would go into, but I'm not going to waste it. Go see Midnight Edge's review. I have a link to this in the description below, unless YouTube ends up changing their format and descriptions end up at the left or the right. That's my right, that's my left, or the top. Or maybe, maybe like in that, who knows? Anyway, so I gotta get going. I got 3 minutes. Probably the big thing that they were examining was who is to blame for this. I think it's a combination of both Fox and Trank. Trank obviously did not want to do a Fantastic Four film. It is pretty obvious that he wanted to do a sequel to Chronicle the way he wanted, whereas Fox, when him and Max Landis pitched their idea of Chronicle 2, which I believe at least would have been very different. Would have been I believe either whoever had survived, because I haven't seen Chronicle, so I don't know if all the characters die or if there's a survivor, but the idea being there would be those who would be affected by the same thing that was in the cave as the kids in Chronicle, but they would then be taken by the government and used as weapons. Well, that's of course what happens in Fantastic Four, as is said in the Midnight's Edge review, and of course they also talk about the fact that there is some similarity to a leaked synopsis of the movie that was initially called to be bogus. It was half right and half wrong. It was right that, Reed and Sue and Johnny and Ben, although Reed leaves and is able to escape, so it just leaves Johnny, Ben, and Sue as being used as weapons by the military, and that was true as opposed to the other thing. I won't get into it. Go and watch the Midnight's Edge review just for that. So there's a lot of those things. I think Trank was just trying to do a film his way, had no interest in Fantastic Four. Fox, their problem was they kept thinking, well, we'll just trust this to a guy who's completely untested in a budget like that. And you got the mess you got, essentially. Well, looks like my time's almost up. I wish I could have talked more, but I really, A, don't have the time, and B, my SD card's going out of, time itself. I actually have to go and mow the lawn later. So anyway, my name's Rob Webb, a.k.a. William Robert Webb III, a.k.a. Tetsuo Man, a.k.a. Tetsuo the Great, and this has been Rob's Ramblings and Reactions. I kind of seems that Michael B. Teller was one of the few good things in this movie. So there you go. I guess that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Josh Trank seems like a dick. And And we're back. Okay, yeah, I said screw it. I will talk more about Josh Trank, and I'll do it from the special comic book review corner I've got over here, which is pretty nice. People might remember it, and I've got way too much headroom, but screw it. But like I said, some people might remember this from my Renew Your Vows little review I did. I gotta talk more about this movie. I gotta talk more about Midnight Edge's review. Again, description below. It's a really good review. I'm going to be helping those guys as much as I can, even though I know they have way more subscribers than me. But hey, they subscribed to my channel, and they did that after my first Josh Trank related video, and I very much am thankful of that. So, what else do we have? Well, before I get into more of what was in the review, I want to deal with an update, which probably Midnight's Edge will probably do a video on, which is, Josh Trank has gotten Marty Singer as his lawyer. For those of you who don't know, no, Marty Singer is not related to Bryan Singer, although he has represented Bryan Singer, and no, I'm not going to get into that whole mess. But I'm going to get into a similar mess that has undeniably been proven, which is that Bill Cosby is a rapist, who is currently representing Bill Cosby, Marty Singer. So, seriously, if you don't... The man basically admitted to it. I know, some of you might just go, down, but, unlike, it's like Bryan Singer hasn't admitted to anything. He might have done, he might not. I don't want to pass judgment on that. The reason I'm passing judgment on Bill Cosby is he basically said he used drugs to have sex with women and felt there was nothing wrong. So let's get off that crazy train and get back to just that is the kind of guy, Josh Trank. Also, this guy's also Marty Singer's represented Charlie Crazy Pants Tiger Blood Sheen. So that should give you, on the type of clientele of Marty Singer, how bad Trank must be in right now. And particularly because another report that was released that, you remember that whole $10,000 worth of damage to a house that Trank was renting? Well, guess what? Supposedly the owners were going to evict him, and when that happened, he decided to scribble on and defame all of the pictures of the family members of the landlord in there. Pretty stupid stuff, don't you think? And on top of that, supposedly there's had been an attempt at a lawsuit that has now either been settled or didn't go to court, or there is a lawsuit that will be ongoing. It was really hard for me to tell based on what the reporting was. It seemed really vague, and also the fact that supposedly certain documents are closed, which does imply that maybe there was something, but now it's all closed. I don't know. But probably another main reason that Trank has taken up to getting a lawyer is probably because of that tweet he did, in which he said, well, the movie I did a year ago, pre-reshoots, wouldn't have been as heavily criticized by the masses. Yes, probably what you would have had is still a film that I don't think would have been that successful. I do believe that Fox basically took a film that was already a mess, and maybe an even bigger mess, by trying to fix it. I do think they probably would have gotten their $50 or $60 million dollar opening weekend. Trank wouldn't have put his mouth off, which probably cost them around $5 to $10 million anyway. So they basically would have made double the amount of money, but I think there would have been a steep decline the next weekend anyway, and they wouldn't have been anywhere near getting the money, but possibly enough to where they could have justified doing a sequel with a different director, which was, of course, what the rumors were stating, was that they wanted Bryan Singer to singerize Fantastic Four because of how well he has done coming back to the X-Men franchise. So, and which would then lead into the possible X-Men versus Fantastic Four kind of thing that they want to do that would involve teleportation from one universe to the other, which I think was Fox hedging its bets. Because if this film wasn't successful, and they tried to do an X-Men Fantastic Four film, and even on top of that, we don't even know if they can legally do it, because the contracts for both X-Men and Fantastic Four were done years apart. Keep that in mind. So the contracts might have explicitly stated that a crossover wouldn't have been possible, and they would have had to get in the okay from from Disney/Marvel. So, you got that. Let's go back to the review. So, one thing I specified over was the fact that It's Clobberin' Time comes from Ben Grimm getting beat up by his brother, which I thought was, just really stupid, really dumb, and especially since one of the easiest ways is, sure, you changed Ben Grimm from being a football player to being a baseball player, but couldn't they have just had it be a simple thing like, Ben's up to the plate and he's like, it's clobbering time. Boom! It's what he says. I always assumed, and I don't think it's ever been said in the comics, but I always assumed it was from back in Ben's days of college football lore, where he was, the star, I believe, quarterback? I think he was the quarterback. Or he might have been the guy who pummels people, I don't know, whichever way. He could have been like, the Fridge from, the Bears, who was a really big guy who basically just steamrolled through, and who was a quarterback who steamrolled through other players to get to do a touchdown, and that's kind of why I would assume Ben Grimm would do. And you would just see him like go boom, 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 and be like, it's clobbering time, boom, boom. Of course, you can't do that with Jamie Bell, which is why they had turned him into having interest in baseball, as they showed in the trailer. I don't even know if that's in the movie, because that was not talked about in the review by Midnight's Edge. Again, description below. There's some good stuff there. Additionally, the fact that it seems like Sue is not a character. According to the review, it seems like she shows up, she's flat, she's not even involved with the interdimensional travel. She doesn't even travel with them. This is like even when you include the cartoons, this is the very first adaptation of the Fantastic Four where Sue's involvement is before whatever accident that happens that leads to him, and then is a byproduct afterward. She just tries to save them, and then some aftershock is what gives her powers. Really? I mean, it boggles my mind. It's like, yeah, we got a black guy. Again, probably Michael B. Jordan was probably, from what I hear, one of the best things, because he played Johnny Storm like Johnny Storm, which, honestly, with Chris Evans being called the most accurate interpretation of the characters in the Fantastic Four, and the Michael B. Jordan, it's like, Johnny Storm, I guess, is just freaking easy to do. He likes fast cars. He likes loose women. Well, I don't know about the second thing. That kind of came to my mind. He likes fast cars, and he likes danger. And he's a dick. So Chris Evans was able to do it. That was why people, when Chris Evans was not named as Captain America, they're like, oh my gosh, Johnny Storm. And then Chris Evans was like, oh, it's actually that he can play a dick, but he can play other kind of roles too. Which, is probably going to be the same thing with Michael B. Jordan. Oh, he played a dick in the Fantastic Four reboot. Because, that's what Johnny Storm is. He is my least favorite character out of all the characters. And yet, he is the one character that they continually get right, it seems. Even if he isn't the same ethnicity, who cares? They got the personality completely down, and, yeah. Is there anything else from the review that I could think of that really, really stood out? Well, Doom making no sense at all. I'm gonna bleep myself there, because I don't think I've said the F word on stuff, but I'll do that, okay. He looked like I've seen screenshots. He looks like crap. He has no real motivation. And again, they're like, we have this pre-established relationship between Domashev. Oh, Domashev. They changed the name. Domashev back to Doom. But between Doom and Sue, and why did we need to do this? Because in the comics, realistically, it wasn't until years down the line that Doom started going, Sue's kind of hot. I know I've been trying to kill Reed Richards for a long time, but I'm now especially wanting to kill him because, Sue's hot. Not just because my face is messed up. Which was partially my fault, thanks to John Byrne's retcon, that it was just a little scar, and then he put the Doom mask on, which was burning hot. We don't get any of that. It's just that Doom again, once again, it's like they basically learned the wrong mistakes. They learned the wrong lessons from they just took the Tim Story movie, added in the teleportation plot from Ultimate Fantastic Four, and then made it darker. That's all they did. That's all they did. And it makes it almost, and yes, I haven't seen it, but every single thing I looked it seems like that's the case. And that's not original. What would have been original is if they had tried to take more from the original comics, not from the Ultimate Comics, because that's the wrong lesson they learned. Both the Tim Story films took a lot from the Ultimate Comics, down to, we're going to have Doom be part of the experiment. Yes, we're still going into space. What they do with this, oh yeah, Doom is part of the experiment, but instead of going to space, we're going to go even more like the Ultimate Comics and have him teleport. Do you guys not understand that's the problem? Don't go by the Ultimate Comics, especially since Ultimate Fantastic Four, at least the origin issues, is the weakest stuff ever to come out of the Ultimate Comics until Jeff Loeb took over Ultimates. Seriously. Up until Jeff Loeb's involvement with the Ultimate Universe, everybody was like, yeah, Ultimate Fantastic Four is the weakest thing, and didn't get really good until Mike Carey came along as a writer. So this is me ranting on that. I think I've done a little bit more. This is going to be a really long video, and so I don't know why I did that, because that means I'm going to have to deal with a lot of little things. It's going to take longer than I wanted to. But you know what? Uh-oh. I got a low battery. So, of course, that means that part of this audio is going to be crap. And